Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
Ain't gonna hurt.
Is my boomstick!
Game over, man. It's game over.
Welcome to the Bargain Bin. He's your host, Ben Mason.
And he's your co-host, Sandro Luketic. And today we're talking 1999's Bats. As always, we assume if you're listening to this episode, you have already seen the movie. Sandro, your history with this one.
I will say, I think I recognize the poster from prior to you picking it.
It's pretty great, right?
The poster itself, yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful color grading and everything. Upside down title because, you know, that's how bats sleep. The movie itself, well, that's a different story entirely.
Yeah, I don't want to give it away too early or anything, but we might have just talked about the best.
No, I've always wanted to watch this. I've had it for a while on DVD. We'll be talking about, I believe, the theatrical version. There was an R-rated version released on DVD, which I have in my hand right now, and I cannot wait to watch it because I'm very curious to see what's different. But I've always loved Lou Diamond Phillips. I love Dina Meyer, and having them together in a movie just kind of seemed like a natural decision. And honestly, probably the only good thing about this one.
Oh, we just said it. The poster.
Yeah, the poster. Okay, so two good things.
Can I tell you? Can I tell you how I watched this movie?
Oh, please do.
For absolutely free on YouTube. Because and it's posted by the company. I forget what company it was, but like it's on their official page because I think they realize that like any ad revenue that they get from this movie is probably the only money that they're making at this point.
Oh, definitely. Like it's old, man. It's a 26-year-old movie. It's a creature feature. We'll get into numbers later. I found it pretty impressive, actually. But yeah, we'll get into this and see if we think it's a lost gem or should just be plain lost.
Mm-hmm. I wonder which one it's gonna be.
So we open up in Gallup, Texas. A young argumentative couple are driving at night and are attacked by, you guessed it, bats. I think. I don't know. The cuts are happening so fast, you really have no idea what's happening here.
Well, to be fair, they're not driving when they get attacked. They've parked, right?
Yes.
This is I'm not going to start any sort of counter, but like bad horror movie cliche, completely unrelated couple, characters that have nothing to do with the plot moving forward that just need to be there to show a body count. Check.
Car breaks down in the middle of the night. Not really. He stops and gets 2 beers out. It's
those are emergency beers.
Oh yeah, we gotta have emergency beers all times. We'll just cut right to our lead, Dr. Sheila Casper, played by Dina Meyer, and her assistant Jimmy Sands, played by Leon. Immediate thoughts on these two?
I knew that Olympic bobsledding only had a certain shelf life of a career, and after that, you'd have to find a new job. But man,
exactly,
got to do something better than this. I sat here and listened to this first dialogue between the two, wondering just how many cliches is this man gonna throw out? And when
everyone you can name.
When she said, "I gotta lay off the cheesecake," because she was having trouble digging through, he's like, you know, I'm a brother. I like a little extra fat in the right parts or whatever. And I'm just like, I threw my hands up in the air. I'm done.
Yeah, you know exactly where we're going here. You know exactly what this movie's gonna give us.
Mm-hmm.
But Sheila's investigating a bat cave. I have to say, I do love Dina Meyer. Like we covered Johnny Mnemonic, which she was in. She was phenomenal in Starship Troopers as Diz. Somehow a helicopter sneaks up on them?
Well, it doesn't sneak up. Like they do it very well in that she's in the cave, so obviously she can't see what's going on. And you see like cuts of the helicopter, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh no, this or whatever, and it cuts out, right? Like the feed cuts out that they were anticipating, and she comes out, and it's like, you know what? This is actually maybe a decently done little misdirect where you can kind of put it together. I know I did. that it's
Yes.
not him being attacked by bats, but that it is the helicopter that's been approaching. But I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. This isn't too bad.
I don't know, man. It's such a classic trope, though. Like the suit getting out of the helicopter and telling our lead, there's an emergency and we need the best of the best.
I didn't say it wasn't a trope. I mean, I said I'm not going to do a trope counter. I think we're already at like 6 or 7, but it was still done in a decently respectful way. The way they did the cuts, the way that they did the feed, even a little bit of foreshadowing. Oh, I'm going to lose you here for a minute. I'm not saying it wasn't a trope. They just did the trope okay.
But this is something that they could get away with in the late 80s, early 90s, not like the turn of the millennium. So at 99, we've seen this way too many times, and I could have used something different. But honestly, I do have to commend them. They are not wasting any time here. It's a 90-minute movie that, honestly, I'm going to say could have been easily cut down to 60 minutes, but we're jumping right into it. So we get our intro to Dr. Alexander McCabe, played by Bob Gunton, who we've also covered in Demolition Man. Probably one of the most useless characters in film history, I have to say.
Yeah. Well, no, he wasn't useless. He created the plot.
Yeah, well, exposition that could have been done in a few lines of dialogue with somebody else.
Well, what are you going to do?
Anyway, they take off in a helicopter and land in a plane a few towns over. I found hilarious.
I was wondering if you're going to bring that up.
But here we meet Sheriff Emmett Kimsey, played by Lou Diamond Phillips. How familiar are you with Lou Diamond Phillips?
I definitely recognize him. I would have difficulty telling you what movie he's in, but if you had asked me completely out of context, unrelated, do I like him? I'd be like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's because he always does well. I don't think I've ever seen him play a role poorly. So it was a really nice surprise when I saw his name on the poster, and then you see him in the movie, and you can tell he's really having fun with the role. He knows what kind of movie he's in when everyone else is trying to act way too serious. He's just having a blast.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our suit from the CDC. He just says, "We have some gear," as they're unloading it. And Kimsey just goes, "Yeah, I could see that. We've only seen 2 cases. They brought up 2 cases."
So this is Dr. Hodge, I believe you're referring to.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm wondering, like, did the director tell this actor, don't show emotion and don't inflect your voice ever?
At all.
Probably that first little bit of, like, dialogue when he gets off the helicopter, I don't know if he was, like, trying to do it for effect, like he's trying to speak over the spinning helicopter blades that are, not present on the plane that they land in. But then, like, the sound mixer must have done him a terrible disservice because they didn't tune the helicopter propeller well, and it just sounds like he's loud talking with no emotion. It was just like, this is so terribly awkward.
It's awful is what it is. You say awkward, I say terrible. But
I was trying to be somewhat nice, but okay.
No need. No need. I would say, would you agree when I say there's friendly friction between Sheila and Kimsey? Because they don't really seem to get along at first. But then that just kind of gets thrown aside in the next scene.
I'm going to be totally honest with you. I can't read these people's performance at all.
Really? I like the chemistry between these two that we get eventually.
You know what? Some of it, yeah, but like there are definitely points where I'm just like, are you supposed to be mad? Are you supposed to like this person? I don't know what's going on here. I think the only person that I ever really knew what he meant was Jimmy all the time. And
that's rough.
But that's because he's so one note.
One note is a great way to describe him. And I feel bad for the actor because this character is so poorly written. And it's just one-liner, miscommunication, getting facts wrong. And that's not him. It's like the script is just awful.
Well, yeah, it's not like the actor is coming up with any sort of potential, terminology that they use or anything like that. He's following the script. but the script didn't do it any favors.
This is where I throw on the DVD and listen to the director commentary that also has Lou Diamond Phillips on it. And we find out he improvised his lines or something. But he is the main source of comedy in this movie, and I don't know if it really hits the way they wanted it to. But I do love the setting of Gallup, Texas. The small rural town, just tiny businesses, lots of yokels. It's the perfect setting for a creature feature like Feast or Demon Knight or Tremors or anything like that. And even Phantoms, which we covered in 30 Days of Night, like you get that isolated town and it just works for me. I'm not sure what it is.
Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms. Anyway, go on.
So they go to town hall, which is also the sheriff's office and also the city morgue, and I'm sure library and everything else except for school. And it's time to analyze the body of the man who was killed at the open, I think. Is it?
I don't know.
If so, then where's the woman? They reference it later.
Well, Dr. Hodge does say when he starts this autopsy, starting with the male.
Yeah, okay, good.
So I'm not sure if maybe it was just bad camera work or whatever. And I don't remember word for word what he said, but he clearly says, like, I'm beginning with the male. So
okay, perfect.
I'm just going to assume that it is and that they're both there.
All right, I love that. That makes me feel much better. I just missed it, and it's not poor writing. Oh, wait. There's so much poor writing.
You didn't say it was good writing.
Yeah. How do they have a coroner who can't stand the sight of blood?
Is that the coroner?
The doctor. He's the guy who's showing them the body in the sheriff's office, morgue, town hall, bistro, corner store.
See, what you didn't know is that he's actually the library attendant that they just were short on bodies. And he was like, yeah, come here, guys.
Honestly, I would believe it. Gallup, Texas, ladies and gentlemen.
If that is a doctor, like, yeah, he should really be okay with blood, dude.
At least a little bit.
Just a little bit.
The corpse is messed up, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Chest and stomach ripped open, jaws all messed up. It's honestly pretty good practical effects. I do love that we get a shot of them pulling back the sheet for the reveal, and the next shot is them pulling back the sheet again.
Oh man, there are so many errors in this movie.
The continuity and the editing is absolutely atrocious. I love it. I love it so much.
It makes you wonder, like, did anybody care?
I think they did. Well, no, this movie is teeming with like passion. You can tell they loved what they were doing. It's just incompetent.
Okay. All right.
And my next note just says, wait, people in town think that kids did this as some sort of satanic ritual. You only see like 2 kids in the movie.
And isn't it the I forget who it is, but like the female that presents that option?
Yeah.
It's like, it always feels like that. I don't know, in a movie it'd be like the school mistress or somebody else is like, children, like, yeah, satanic cult, got it.
Yeah. How do people in the town know the state of the body? Oh, right, because they're in the library.
You said it's probably everything but the school. No, it is the school. The classroom was right next door, and then some kid asked to go to the bathroom and peered in the window.
Also, that CDC guy was named Hodge. Sorry,
Dr. Hodge. Yeah,
Hodge. Needs Sheila to look at the bite. It's a diameter of 4 centimeters and a circumference of about 13 centimeters. I'm like, well, yes, that's basic math. Good job, scientist man.
Well, they needed the writers needed to show us that they knew what was up.
And Sheila finds a bat fang from a species that only feeds on fruit. There's a reveal that there have been 5 attacks in the last 6 days. And here we find out that 2 bats escaped from McCabe's lab and were imported from Indonesia and experimented upon with a virus. Okay. We're in full creature feature mode here.
I am so impressed that she was able to identify that fang that quickly. It's like, I don't know bats. I don't know how distinguished they might be between one and the other, but she looks at it for like 2 seconds, like, I know what this is.
Yeah. And the thing is, she talks about them being like flying foxes, and you see the bats. Those are not flying foxes. They are not. These are messed up looking vampire bats. But Sheila was brought on to find these bats, refuses to destroy them, but she'll track them down. And McCabe, in perfect villain mode, just says, don't worry, I'm sure it won't go that far. And nobody seems to think this guy is up to something.
He just stands in the background, like leering, and chimes in periodically with these ridiculous statements. And people are just like, yeah, no, it's cool. It's okay because he called us as soon as they escaped.
And honestly, this guy, he hasn't done anything, but the way he's acting and the way he looks, if I were Kimsey, I'd just be like, you're under arrest. For what? I'm not sure, but you're being locked up.
We'll arrest you. We'll arrest you now and sort it out later.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know for a goddamn fact you are an evil human being. So another attack. Looks like there are multiple bats killing people. I guess. We have to believe. But we learn that the virus can... Oh, go ahead.
I was just about to say what I think you're about to say, is that we learn that the virus can only infect other bats. So whatever the genetic disease they have is safe to humans, but the fact that they are now omnivores and will eat whatever they can find is a threat to humans.
So did these two bats that escaped the lab just start attacking other bats, or just cohabitating with other bats, and that's how the virus... What is this virus? Is it airborne? We don't know. But yeah, you're right. Increased intelligence somehow makes them work together communally. Heightened aggression, and yeah, they're omnivores now. Fine. My next note you've already covered, and that is Jimmy's character is so poorly written that it's annoying. Almost all lines are jokes, none of them funny. Although I did have to say, I laughed out loud when he points at his laptop screen and says, "Take a look at this," and the laptop's just not on.
I liked it when he shows them the map and how quickly it's going to spread. And he's like, I forget what he says, like, this is 6 months from now or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be gone by then. And be like, where? You showed that the map is like fully infected.
Oh, we'll cover where and how wrong it is. So he moves the plot along by showing them how the colony will grow. Like you said, in 6 months, it'll be all over the continent. Sure. So they have to find the roost and kill every infected bat. So we get a prep montage, and I see a lot of problems with their preparations here.
No, couldn't be.
Hanging nets, which are only secured from the sides and are open at the top and bottom. They won't do a thing.
They also comment, like, a running joke, how they feel like fishnet stockings.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that just makes me question, like, how strong they are. Like, will one bat fly into this and just rip through it? It doesn't look any stronger than, like, a fishnet either.
No, it really doesn't. Like, they'd be better with, like, fishing nets. And I think they try and cover this up by giving us Sheila's backstory. And, like, do you want to cover this? Because it's stupid.
No, I don't.
being terrified of bats as a child, and her father taught her how good they are for the environment. Great. That's awesome. So that made her a lifelong bat fanatic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now it's time for a massive bat attack. Sheila and Kimsey take refuge in his truck. But I have to ask, what's your stance on the CGI in this scene?
My stance on the CGI throughout the entire movie is not very good. But I had a different question for you.
Sure.
I'm not a bat expert. Okay? I'm going to say that right now. So if there's some bat zoologist that's going to correct me, by all means, please do. But the warning that they get is the bats making whatever screeching sound this is, which honestly, to me, almost even sounded like a predator's clicking. What noise is this?
I don't know, because I've heard bats chirp before, but I've never heard a bat make that sound ever. Do you have much of a bat population where you are?
Not that I know of. I don't pay attention to them. I think I've seen one once before. Like, I don't know.
No, we've got a lot here. That's not what they sound like.
No, it sounded like the predator.
I know. And that's kind of how they play these creatures off. This like this insane force that no one's going to stop. They may as well have a cloaking device because they just sneak up on people, no problem. Which we'll see at the attack on Gallup. But as much as I hate the sound design and the CG in this movie, I love the practical effects, and I want to talk about that for a second because just because I love them doesn't mean they're good.
Okay.
They are some of the goofiest puppetry I've ever seen, but I think perfect for a late night creature feature. And I think that's what this movie is, and they mismarket it as something more. What do you think about the practicals, like the puppets and the overall feeling they provide for this film?
I mean, if it is a comparison to like the CGI and stuff, a million times more better. They should have just stuck with practicals as much as they could. Obviously, when they're trying to convey like this large swarm of bats, they got to go to CGI. But like having both of them really does show you just like what kind of a divide there is between the two.
Yeah, it's shocking. Jimmy and the deputy, whose name I forget right now, arrives. The deputy points his gun at the bats, and they immediately stop the attack and just stare at him and then fly away. Why?
Well, you did say they're more intelligent.
But they understand what a gun is now? They
You
have
did
never
say that they are more intelligent.
Well, they should learn from being shot. Now, the thing is, they can't just know what a gun is by looking at it, having never encountered it before. Although the stare down is pretty badass. It looked very intimidating. But the scene makes no sense. Also, how did neither Sheila or Kimsey have any major scratches on them when the bats were like invading his truck?
Because they were in the truck. The bats didn't make it through the truck. No, you missed that cut.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. The director's cut is the one. The R-rated version is where they take out all of the errors, and that's why it runs for 22 minutes.
Didn't you notice that after the scene they cut and they're getting out of a completely different vehicle that's unscathed?
They run and hide in his truck and get out of a plane.
Yep.
Yeah. So one of the bats got stuck under the truck's wheel, and they capture it. Now, here's a question for you.
No, every time you say that this episode, I know it's going to be good.
The bat got stuck because the truck rolled over on it. The wheel is pinned its wing to the ground.
I know where this is going, I think.
And they just grab the bat and rip it out from under the wheel, and it's fine? Where are you taking this one?
I thought you were going to ask me, how did that vehicle move to run over the bat?
Oh, well, why would I do that? We just have to assume that all of this just makes sense.
Because they got in the vehicle and they couldn't start it, right?
Yeah.
Did I miss that part? So how did the wheel move to trap the bat?
And why are the two main bats that escaped just hanging around scoping things out? At this point, I just expect them to start talking.
that was a cutscene. That was a deleted scene from the movie. Yeah.
Do you know what this movie really reminds me of?
No.
Gremlins.
You're gonna have to explain that, or you're gonna have some very angry Gremlins fans.
No, it's like, well, first off, the effects I think are about as good. Like the puppets, like they're absolutely ridiculous, and these are not flying foxes, like I said before, but they're comedic and also kind of like creepy, incredibly violent creatures in the movie, but also way too intelligent for what they are. The humor in this movie is very unbalanced. I feel like we lost a lot in editing. Because if you added more humor to this could be a Gremlins, and this really could be a Tremors movie. But we'll go back to that in a bit. Actually, no. You know what? Let's continue with the fuck humor right now. Because they tag the bat with a tracker and let it go, and it immediately gets ripped in half by the two bats.
Yep. They're very protective. They know what's up. They must have sensed the tracker through their sonar. Help me out here.
Well, like they just went through that massive bat attack. So like we'll tag this and we'll set it free and we'll follow them. And the bat gets massacred. So their next plan is to evacuate the town. You were just attacked by hundreds of bats. And instead of trying to evacuate the town anyway, you're like, well, let's just put a tracker on this one and see what happens. Now, they're violent Who would have known?
In their defense, they might have been planning to evacuate the town, but they had the opportunity of the bat right there that they didn't anticipate catching it. And it got messed up by those other bats like immediately. If they had any other plans, they did not have time to put them into action, which I don't know about you, but like I actually did find that part hilarious. Because as soon as they set it free and those other two bats destroy it, I'm just like, it's like to you.
And that's why I really don't think their plan originally was to evacuate the town. It's when they saw that bat get ripped in half. It was a reactionary thing. Like I don't think we're approaching this situation in the most intelligent way. I really don't.
Well, I mean, when they're investigating those two bodies at the, station, school, morgue or whatever, they mention, like she said, like she says, there's something you're not telling me, and they reveal that there's been multiple body counts, right?
Yes.
That alone should have been reason to start either a curfew or, exiting the town or something like that. Not now. It's not like this is just the second attack, and it's not an isolated incident. So yeah, you're expecting too much from them.
Okay, talking about expecting too much, specifically from this movie, there's a question for you.
Oh.
What was the point of putting the tracker on the bat if in the next scene, Jimmy's computer shows that the bats, individually represented on screen, are moving towards the town?
I mean, the answer that the movie clearly wants you to have is that they were putting the tracker on to try and find the nest. As for the rest, that's just this movie being this movie.
And I love it for it. I love it for all of its faults. At least they follow up with something I think is amazing. The next scene is the attack on Gallup. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, they deserved it. They should have done something.
For what it is, I think it's awesome. Like we get more of these horrible looking puppets, but I also really love them at the same time. I love all of it, even down to the fact that the local theater is showing Nosferatu. And this also makes me think of 30 Days of Night. Did you get that vibe at all?
No.
No?
No.
Were you just waiting for the runtime?
Yeah.
Go by?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. All right, well, Kimsey helps a woman hide under his truck, and Sheila tries to close the windows of a drugstore? Wait, bats have blood vision? That's something we should talk about. The camera work is nonsensical.
What do you mean?
Well, we get what I'm supposed to believe, I think, is like the viewpoint, the POV of the bats. Yeah. And only once is it tinted red, but it's always skewn. So I don't know what the point is here, especially when they're talking about echolocation, which we all know about with bats. So this frenetic camera work and jerky editing, is it trying to cover something up, or do you think it was actually intentional for an effect?
I think it was an intentional for an effect. And I honestly think that the sad answer is that like somebody who had maybe more decision-making power than they should have just was like, this would be cool.
Yeah, and there's on the DVD, there's a special feature that is special effects and storyboard comparisons. I can't wait to watch that. This is the idea we had, and this is how we ruined it.
Mm-hmm.
A bartender grabs a shotgun and just starts shooting into the sky.
Yeah, why not? Right?
It does not work out well.
At least he's doing something.
He's trying. He's definitely trying. Sheila hides in a ticket booth at the theater. Again, some of the worst film editing I've ever seen. But there is something that did make me laugh here. Okay. And I think you probably laughed too. It's when a guy steals Kimsey's truck and just leaves the two of them laying on the ground in the open road.
Mm-hmm.
I thought was not genius, but pretty funny.
Well, now they're exposed, as opposed to all of the cover they had when the truck was there.
Yeah. So, okay, what do you think of having the two main bats so prevalent? If it's them passing along a virus to other bats, wouldn't they kind of all be the same?
I think it's budgetary, and we can't put too much of a focus on more than the two bats. We have to put the rest into CGI bats.
Fair. Okay, fair enough. So the two main bats kill Hodge, and only now does McCabe seem to think this is a problem.
Is it that he thinks it's a problem?
It kind of states it, but then flips on it pretty quickly afterwards. So why is this character even here?
Scapegoat? I don't know.
Well, the army arrives the next morning just in time to not save the day.
Yeah.
And Sheila leaves her bat necklace on Hodge's corpse because she had no connection to him whatsoever. It seemed like she actually despised him. Then why leave such a cherished item on his body?
Let's be fair. I mean, he did try to save her, and that's what resulted in him getting killed, right? Like, it was at least a heroic moment for him.
A valiant effort, sure. I don't know about you. I didn't give a shit about this character.
I didn't either, but I'm just saying, like, at least, right? Like, we see other characters don't do much of anything. At least he had a moment where he tried to be heroic and he tried to save her, and that was his demise. I'm okay with that, right? Fine. She's leaving the necklace, which is something of value because he did sacrifice himself to save her.
Fine, I guess. For film's sake, let's.
I'm giving it this one. I'm giving it this one.
Okay, I will too. The army's given our team 48 hours to find and kill the bats before they bomb the entire town.
Honestly, I think this sound crass, but I'd be like, all right, 48 hours to get everybody out of here. Do it.
Yeah, right?
We will rebuild. It is a much safer plan than whatever else we can come up with.
I can walk out my front door and see the end of town. It's not going to be hard to rebuild.
No.
But it seems right for this kind of movie, like how they want to deal with everything at the end of Return of the Living Dead. Like, this is too much for us. Let's just get rid of everything and start anew.
What are you really losing?
Yeah.
You gave 48 hours is more than enough time for the townfolk to get out of there. What are you really losing?
Half the town's already destroyed.
Yeah.
Just level it and start over.
Yeah.
So instead, they go to the local school and fortify it. I have to say, Sandra, I love this school set. I love the entire montage set to opera. I need to hear what you think about this, because I would be happy if the rest of the movie played out here.
The whole movie's been here already. This is the other side of the courthouse.
Oh, that's right. It's great, though, because you can tell this town is so small that this one school pretty much covers every single grade.
Yeah. And it makes you just wonder, like, why wasn't the first plan, if you weren't going to evacuate, to get the townfolk in this school, which I'm sure they all would have been able to fit, and properly fortify it right from the start?
I agree completely. Would have been the smartest move.
But you keep asking questions, and that's a problem.
All right, well, here's another question for you. Have you noticed how Kimsey eats that apple?
No, I did not pay attention to that.
His first bite, he's got an amazing apple. Like, it made me want to have an apple. He grabs it, and he takes a bite from the bottom of the core.
Yeah, I didn't notice this.
It stands out to me. It's such a weird thing to do. But it's, you eat an apple from the side, right?
Of course.
Most people would pinch an apple from the top to the bottom between their thumb and their middle finger and take a bite from the side. No, he just palms the top of it and like eats the bottom of this apple. I'm thinking that is one of the worst things you could possibly do. But I don't know. I've never tried it. Maybe it's a thing. Sheila comes up with the idea of freezing the bat's roost.
Why?
I don't know. And now I feel like we've gone from straight up lower budget midnight creature feature to sci-fi original.
Like, if you just try to freeze them, they'll try to migrate. If I found the roost, I'm like fully engulfing the entrance with a flamethrower as I move forward. Like, there will not be a crack of oxygen in between me and behind me. Like, sure, yeah, freeze it. Why not? Whatever.
It just makes sense, man. The army drops off their protective gear for the mission. My note here, and we've touched on this already, but it's that Lou Diamond Phillips shines in this movie. We'll get to it later for awards and whatnot, but do you think he's underused?
Yeah. Yeah, they should have put more of a focus on him.
But should they have taken less focus off of Dina Meyer?
No, you could have taken a little bit more away from everybody else because there were so many scenes where everybody else was doing nothing.
Yeah, I really agree with that. These two actors were killing it and obviously enjoying it. But when you've got a name like Phillips and he's doing such a good job, make some edits to that script and put him there more. His comedic timing, I've never seen his comedy this good. And I have to admit, there's something really charming about the relationship between the two of them now. Not even just the two of them, but like Sheila Kimsey and Jimmy. For some reason now, I'm starting to actually enjoy Jimmy's character.
Oh, I've liked Jimmy from the start.
But Jimmy's, like, we have to say, he's an idiot, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I'm not going to have some sort of false delusion on what Jimmy is. I mean, he's a walking trope. That's fine. But I enjoyed him from the very beginning. I just knew what it was. That's all.
But even things like Jimmy prints out that surveillance image of bats and goes, "This looks like them." I'm like, yeah, sure does.
It's surveillance footage.
It's a surveillance footage, local footage of the bats. I'm sure it does look like them. And Kinsey just deduces that the bat's roost is in a local mine.
Yep.
Oh, okay. We'll just roll
Science.
with that.
Yeah.
There's the reveal that the experiments on the bats were a U.S. government weapons op. I don't care. I don't need that detail. We already got the story.
Yep.
Adding that it's a government thing changes nothing. Now, here's a question.
Okay.
And it's something that we do get every now and then in horror films. Sometimes it's done well, sometimes poorly, and sometimes when it's done poorly, it works even better for me. The best example being in the original Evil Dead film. When they black out the moon, you can tell in the Evil Dead it's a square from a different shot altogether that's been edited into frame. What is your thought about the bats blacking out the moon by flying in front of it?
I mean, it's a cool idea in concept, for sure. It would, yes. Because if we're just thinking about it conceptually, it shows that intelligence that they discussed with the bats that they're doing something strategic, getting rid of their visibility in order to give themselves the advantage.
Exactly.
On paper, the image of a whole bunch of bats blocking out the moon sounds awesome, but you have to have the capability to do it.
Yes, thank you. This is horrific. It looks absolutely terrible. McCabe reveals that he designed the bats to be the perfect killing machines. Well, they're not, because they only come out at night. I'm sure you could have done something more, maybe involving daytime. And the bats are on the way to the school because McCabe called them there. How does that work?
I'm so tired of this character.
How is there a heel turn when the guy's already a heel?
He's the stupidest scientist ever.
It doesn't make sense.
It's I can control them. Like, no, you can't. They're still bats. They're still bats.
How are you controlling them? You've gone so far out of your way, movie, to explain what's happening that you can't even explain what's happening now. It's like you just gave up partway in. Like, sure, whatever.
He doesn't have a device. He doesn't have a pheromone. He doesn't have. There's no explanation as to how he controls them. At least if he was just like, oh, I have this frequency and he has some sort of like radio device type thing. Cool, play on the sonar. But like nothing. Just literally like, yeah, I control them.
Yeah.
What about it?
And then, wait, later on, he doesn't actually control them?
Well, he clearly never did.
Yeah. So he let them out. They didn't escape.
Okay, what a twist.
Yeah, great. Didn't see that one coming. And it was so obvious. And you know what? I don't care.
It's like
I really don't care.
Written twist that nobody cares about at all.
Like, Kimsey should just shoot him.
Yeah, sure. Why not? The bats did it.
Yeah. They're intelligent enough. They learned how to use firearms. What's this now? My wounds have just vanished and will reappear in a later scene. Don't worry about it. Bats did that too.
Yep.
But we get the siege on the school. gunfire, fire extinguishers, torches. Honestly, I had a lot of fun with this scene.
I really like Jimmy with the flamethrower at the room with like the grate. I'm just gonna assume they put grates in a lot of places, but like, even from a visual standpoint, it's like, okay, this is pretty cool. This is the type of action that this should be leaning on.
Yeah, it definitely should. Putting up all that chain link fencing and electrifying it, brilliant. This is campy fun. This is exactly what I wanted from this movie, and we don't get enough of it, and it's really frustrating for me. The bats breach the school, and this is something we touched on earlier. Jimmy gets attacked, and that I actually care. Like, the movie is now starting to win me over and make me care about these characters.
See, I knew I cared about Jimmy, but in that moment, I was like, oh no, is this going to be Jimmy's sacrifice moment? No, because it was the one character I didn't want to die.
Well, Jimmy, Sheila, and Emmett, Kimsey, I actually really enjoy the three of them now.
See, I was okay with Kimsey dying, simply because I thought if at the end of the movie there's like a heroic sacrifice, if it's him as like, the sheriff and the law protector and the noble one, like, I'm not saying I wanted him to die, but I accepted it that if it made sense for the plot, I would have been okay with it. But I just didn't want Jimmy to die.
If they killed off Lou Diamond Phillips this early in, I would be furious.
No, I'm not saying this early. I just mean, like, from a general mentality, I was okay with if the movie ended with him, like, sacrificing himself to save everybody.
Okay, yeah, I get that. He is a altruistic character, and yeah, I honestly kind of want. Oh, you know what? I'm going to say this for the end.
Okay.
So Kimsey gets the generator working and electrifies the chain link fence they put up, causing the bats to explode somehow. But yeah, McCabe thinks he can control the bats, like we mentioned before, and they just straight up kill him.
Good. About time. Should have happened earlier.
Yeah. Kimsey says the bats have left, and Sheila says it's because they got what they came for.
Based on what? What evidence did you have of that?
I don't know. Do you know what they're thinking now? The goal of the attack was to kill McCabe, the one who created them and then set them free. The bats had a vendetta against a scientist, and
if they just wanted to kill him, I'm sure they probably would have just killed him when he set them free.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, why would they go to Texas and wait for him to show up to then kill him?
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this movie.
Okay.
So next up, we head to the mines. Helicopter camera work, awesome. Very great establishing shots. The exterior of the mines, while completely ridiculous and nonsensical, looks amazing. And I feel like we could have spent a little bit more time here. What do you think about that?
I'm fine with it.
What?
Every time you say helicopter, I think about the helicopter to airplane transition.
I really wonder if they mentioned that in the commentary. I will let you and the listeners know next week, because I'm definitely watching the uncut R-rated version and commentary after this. So we see a slew of slaughtered military, but the refrigeration unit has been delivered and the entire place has been rigged with explosives. 62 minutes. Our team has 1 hour and 2 minutes before the mine is to be bombed and gassed by the army. So my question to you is, why not just let them do that?
I'm pretty sure I alluded to that earlier.
Exactly. Because Sheila wants to freeze them so they all die. But if they could just bomb them all right now, let them do that. Don't go inside.
Yeah, and it's not like they were saying, oh, we're just going to bomb the general area, when we were saying, oh, maybe we can preserve the town, or maybe we need move. We know where the mine is. Okay.
Yeah.
Aim at the mine.
Yeah, but Sheila says the bats will scatter. Kimsey's retort is, there's only one entrance to the mine. So my question is, so what's the problem here?
How do you know there's only one entrance to the mine?
Well, he seems to know.
Well, how?
I don't know. And this is something too, because they've got a map for inside the mine. And once they get inside, they're like, oh, it forks left or right? There's only one tunnel on this map. He doesn't know anything, but neither does she. So this is, I guess, a moot point. Just bomb everything anyway and get it over with. So Sheila says they have to go. They're all kind of freaked out. And Sheila says they have to go into the mine and turn on the cooling unit, which was the original plan. I don't know why everyone's so shocked now, but they suit up and head in.
Well, because the military couldn't do it. They all perished. So what chance do we have?
Sure. Sheila and Kimsey fall through the mine floor and end up waist deep in bat shit, which of course means a shitload of bats. Question. How is the refrigeration unit suspended in the middle of this unknown cave? And if any disturbance would make them scatter, why are all the bats still there?
Stop asking questions.
They get the unit working, but the bats are onto them.
Who would have thought?
So ridiculous. So apparently this is taking quite a long time for them to get there because they only have 7 minutes left now before the jets arrive with bombs.
We had 48 hours. How far away was this mine?
And they get there with 62 minutes, and now they have 7. But, it's fine. They just splice in some footage from Iron Eagle 2. Kimsey's attacked, his breathing apparatus destroyed. Sheila just starts firing a gun wildly, hitting equipment that makes the bat explode somehow. And the rest of the bats, Sandro, they chase our heroes, but they outrun them.
Well, because they're flying.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a cave. It's small. Maybe they're hitting the ceiling.
It's not small. They are not hitting the ceiling. Jimmy blows up the entrance to the mine and everything around them, and the army calls off the airstrike. Blow up the entrance to the mine and bomb the rest of it.
I find that hilarious. Now, I'm going to assume that we don't know there's only one entrance. But if they believe there was only one entrance, why even go inside? Bomb the entrance, they're stuck inside.
Right?
But what do I know?
More than everyone else in the movie, apparently. But the cooling unit's fully operating, and our team leaves the mines. Sheila looks back at the mine entrance before leaving, and everything is fully intact. It looks like no explosion ever happened. Then we get a fake-out ending. And this was sequel bait, for sure. And I love that they squashed it immediately.
Yeah.
One of the main bats survived the explosion and digs its way out of the ground, only to be run over by our heroes heading back into town, completely unknowing of what they just did.
Love it.
Love it. I love it too. And here we get credits rolling, end of movie.
Oh man, I can't believe they made a 3-hour movie out of this.
It felt like 4 for me.
Oh, that was... Anyway, let's get to some numbers.
Sure. What do you think this movie cost to make?
$2 million. I don't know.
5.2.
Okay, sure.
I think it. If what I'm remembering is correct, it made its money back in a week or two. But what do you think its overall gross was?
12.
10-2. Not bad.
I think it benefited from coming out at a time where these types of movies were very common and people were just willing to take a chance on any of them. I
agree completely. The reviews, though, while people were willing to take a chance, I don't think a lot of people really liked it. IMDb out of 10, what do you think this got?
4.2.
4.1.
Ooh, that was close.
That is the best review we'll get here. Going over to Rotten Tomatoes, percentage of critics that found this movie entertaining.
I'm feeling like a 27.
Knock 10 off of that.
Ooh.
It's better than the audience. Popcorn meter is at what?
14.
15.
Okay, so not much worse. They're very close.
Your guesses are very good this episode.
I was off by 10.
Yeah, and I honestly I'm not surprised by these ratings. It makes a lot of sense to me. I don't necessarily agree with them, but this should lead us into our awards.
All right, so who did you have for your least favorite character?
McCabe, 100% McCabe. Just an unnecessary character. An amazing actor that's horribly wasted. His entire presence could have been replaced by a few lines of dialogue, so why give him so much screen time? And when he's involved in the action, it doesn't make any sense. So there really couldn't be anyone else for me. Who did you have?
I had Hodge.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought that this performance was absolutely terrible. As soon as as soon as that first bit of dialogue happened when he got off the helicopter and he was, like I said, shout talking with no emotion whatsoever, no inflection at all, I was just like, I mean, like, this feels like a child reading off of a teleprompter. Like, it's awful. Awful, awful, awful.
It is quite bad. What about favorite character?
I went with Jimmy.
Yeah. All right. Reasoning?
I had fun with the character, and it was like, I get it that he was a very one-note kind of character, but to me, in a way that felt like the most self-aware that this movie had to offer. Like, in this absolutely train wreck of a movie, if every character was this on the nose with their tropes and their stereotypes and their delivery, I think it might have been a lot more fun.
It would have been, you're right. Like, this really should have been another Tremors style movie.
Like, the reason that I didn't take Lou Diamond Phillips is because I don't think a good performance belongs in this movie. I know it sounds weird to say, but it just, yeah.
Well, see, I did have to go with Lou Diamond Phillips. Like, Kimsey he was so good in this movie. And like every time they focus on him when something crazy happens, the look on his face is like, everyone else realizes how weird this is, right? No, we're just going along with this.
That's the thing. He was such a fish out of water in this.
But he also had some of the best lines. I thought Dina Meyer was phenomenal in this movie too. I really, really enjoyed her acting. I'd say she had the best performance. But my favorite character, of course, is the sheriff. I Jimmy kind of close, but no. Kimsey for sure.
Hey, I think we both bring up very reasonable arguments for our picks, and they're just taking two very different approaches. That's all. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, fair enough.
What did you have for your favorite or most memorable line?
See, okay, I it's not memorable line. It's two lines from two characters, but I have to bring up one of Jimmy's lines first, and the problems therein. Sheila, I've been doing some thinking, and what I figured out is this is fucked up. And I'm thinking about heading to Antarctica right now. I've checked into this, and there's not one bat up there. Wrong direction. Completely wrong direction, Jimmy. But my favorite is an exchange between Jimmy and Kimsey. And it's after they're doing all the prep work for fortifying the school. Jimmy's like, there. Now we're now as secure as the goddamn Alamo. And Kimsey just looks up and says, bad example there, Jimmy. That got a legitimate laugh out of me. Like, a belly laugh. It caught me off guard, and I really appreciated that. What about you?
Okay, so clearly you and I are taking two very different mentalities on our awards, because you picked maybe the one example of good writing in the movie, where I picked what I felt was like the epitome that encapsulated all of what is wrong with the writing in this movie.
Which is almost all of it, but please go ahead. I'm curious.
So in the initial discussion, when they're talking about, when they're looking at the bodies and they're getting their first reveal that there's something not quite right about this scientist dude, they talk about how he let them free, and it's like, why would you do that? And he says, because I'm a scientist. That's what we do. And I'm like, all right, movie. We're not even trying to explain things. Got it.
Let's go. No, the movie's a riot, man. But
why'd you do this? Why did you set free these bats that have these diseases that are horrible killing machines? I'm a scientist. That's what I do.
So do you think he got the go-ahead from the army if it was a U.S. government operation? Or he just did it on his own?
See, you know what would have worked if this was an okay movie?
He went rogue?
Yes. Like, maybe the army was like, you know what? We want to shut down this program. What you're doing here is not kosher. You were working kind of under the radar. And then in a act of defiance, because he doesn't want his work to be just like destroyed, he sets them free.
Love it. That would be great. That's not what we got.
No.
I think we're going to have a pretty split decision on memorable scenes, but what for you is your favorite or most memorable scene in this movie?
I had the car running over the bat at the end.
Really? Oh yeah, we're way off.
Okay.
But
do you
please
not
explain.
remember? Do you not remember our Splinter episode and how much I hated this teased sequel bait?
Okay, this makes perfect sense now.
As soon as I saw that, and I was just like when the bat emerges, there was a split second where I was like, "Oh, I'm so sick of this." And as soon as the car ran over, I'm like, "Oh, that's so good! You got me!"
It really was good, right? I was very, very happy with that. But at the same time, I kind of want to see a sequel to Bats.
Oh, I don't.
Okay. I had to go. Originally, it was going to be the attack on Gallup, but it was fortifying the school. I would have been happy with that being the majority of the film, was them holding up in there and fighting them off from there. That would have been great. It gives me, again, I had already mentioned Demon Knight, almost like Assault on Precinct 13 vibes, where it's a siege movie and they're just trying to survive. I would have loved that. Hold out until the military got there. That would have been great.
Yeah,
But
because I'm
no,
pretty sure that if the military showed up and all the bats were attacking, they would have the armor and like the automatic rounds to just literally shoot all of them.
Exactly. And I think that would have been great. I would have been okay with that. Unfortunately, that's not what we got, but the potential was there, and I loved the set design. I love how lived in the school actually felt. I loved how the characters were all working together, and it actually made me appreciate them all as individuals more. And for once, this movie started winning me over, and I was really getting into a scene, only for it to end a few moments later, and then we get the rest of this mess.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah, it was
that school could have just given us a whole bunch of like Home Alone style bat killings,
yeah, exactly.
and I would have been all for that because it's not like the movie was giving me much else.
Yeah, yeah. As our friends over at Hey, Did You See This One would say, it's the Home Alone of it all. Would be this.
All right, so your final thoughts on bats?
I hated this movie at the beginning, but the longer it went on, the more invested I got, and I ended up loving it. Is it good? Hell no. No, it's not a good movie. Is it fun? 100%. I'm sure we're going to differ on this, but I really, really enjoyed this movie. The thing is, I have really bad taste in film. So while I want to recommend it, and I will, I fully expect anybody else who watches it to hate it. The casting was perfect. Some of the people did not need to be in here, unfortunately, but the story's fun. It's just a ridiculous creature feature film. It should be watched late at night. Again, with a lot of the movies we talk about, pizza and beers, for sure. This is the perfect candidate for one of those. I enjoyed watching it alone, but I think I really would have enjoyed it so much more watching it with you, with other friends. Like it's an experience. It's not art. But I really enjoyed the movie, and to people that love late 90s monster movies or like full moon features creature movies, 100% recommend. For your average film viewer, don't feel bad if you haven't seen it. What about you?
There's a reason this movie is free to watch on YouTube. Don't watch it. It's bad. I started not liking the movie and I ended not liking the movie. What more do you want me to say here?
It's fun, man. It's a
It's
fun
not.
movie.
It wasn't fun. It was not fun. Do you have
Oh,
any
I'm
idea
gonna
how
fight you
much
on
I
this.
like groaned and rolled my eyes when I started the second viewing?
I love the second viewing even more.
Oh god.
You're kidding me. How did you not have fun with this? It's got everything we love about bad movies.
Well, maybe my first viewing I had held out hope that it would get good somewhere, and then the second viewing I knew it wouldn't.
Yeah, why would you hold out hope? I picked it. You know what you're getting yourself into.
You picked it having even stated you'd never seen it before. You didn't know what you were getting into.
Look at the trailer, look at the poster. The title of the movie is upside down. This is a gimmick film. What did you expect from a 1999 movie called Bats?
Better than this.
What did you want this movie to be?
I don't know. Good.
I saw that coming. I set myself up for that one. God damn it. Fair enough. I mean, I had a lot of fun with it. I would recommend it only to horror film fans. I understand why you took the stance that you did. Good. Yeah. It's a a good contrasting review.
All right, so that's our thoughts on bats. If you'd like to share your thoughts with us, you can hit us up on social media. We're on Twitter at BSBargainBin, Facebook.com/BSBargainBin, and of course there is the comments section on YouTube.com/@BSBargainBin. Ben.
Yo.
What are we watching next week, buddy?
Well, the fact that we've got summer creeping up on us in a very short amount of time, I decided that I'm going to pick 2 movies, both set during the winter. But I'm going to give you the genre, and you have to tell me what one we're doing. Are we doing winter found footage or winter thriller?
Winter thriller. I'm done with found footage.
Okay, well, this movie has 2 different titles depending on where you are. It is from 2002, and next week we'll be covering, depending on where you are, I See You or Detox.
You ever play hide and seek? What makes that game so much fun? It's when the hunter is staring right at you.
One by one, he takes them.
I see you, but you don't see me.
One by one, they fall.
9 dead cops inside of 6 months.
This guy's a different breed.
FBI agent Jake Malloy has followed his trail to this remote outpost.
There's only 10 of you cops. I don't think anyone's gonna be bored.
Now, one by one,
Jack's missing.
his fellow officers are turning up dead.
Split the building into sections. Each person will clear that area.
Life begins with death.
He knows how the killer works.
What are you looking for?
It's him. He's taking trophies.
He knows how he thinks.
You studied guys like this, right, Doc? They don't just kill you.
What he doesn't know is who the killer is.
We're dropping like flies here.
Hey, Malloy.
Time to see how strong you really are!
Shouldn't you be at home?
It's at my house.
1311, west side, go, go!
I'm sorry, but Mary can't come to the phone right now.
Until next time, have a good one.
All the best.